Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. You love GABNET. You love the hosts and the citizen panels. In fact, you wish you could take them wherever you go. On your computer, log on to gabnet.net, where our stream is available around the clock. On your TV, GABNET is available on Roku with the same around-the-clock stream, plus all the latest episodes of GABNET programs, old favorites, videos, and tons of celebrity interviews. When you're mobile, we're on your iPhone or iPad with podcasts accessible via iTunes or Stitcher, and that same around-the-clock stream on TuneIn. If you don't want GABNET wherever you go, well, the hell with you. Go ahead, listen to your old-fashioned talk shows that do things in the same old predictable way. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be having fun listening to talk like you've never heard it before on GABNET.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett, host of the Ramble, heard here and seen here on GABNET, Tuesday through Fridays, live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I got some big news for you. Our program has moved its live video from Facebook Live to YouTube Live. After extensive tests in our GABNET laboratories of at least 10 minutes, our mind was made up and we've come to the conclusion that YouTube is superior not only in video quality, but audio as well. And then there's the ease of watching it. Here's what you do. Simply point your browser to youtube.com/Bolo Bennett /live. That's youtube.com/Bolo Bennett, BOLOBENNETT /live. And you're there. The player is waiting, and you do nothing, and when the show begins, so does the player. Couldn't be simpler. In fact, tag that page as a permanent tab on your browser, and you're ready to go. And if all of this is too vexing for you, well, just go to gabnet.net near showtime, and the player in the middle of the page will start to play when we're on. We're thrilled with the new quality our move has provided, and while you're there, would you do me a favor and please subscribe to our channel? No, I beg you to. Hey, listen to me, I'm groveling, okay? I know, it's pathetic. I'm sorry, I'm debasing myself, and I really shouldn't be. Please.
Jack Bishop of GABNET's The Intersect, Tuesdays through Fridays at midnight Eastern Time. It's everything from what's going on with the new royal couple to what's happening with that grumpy old man in the Oval Office. Movies, music, old TV shows, you name it. From thoughtful discussions to out-and-out fights like my grandma would referee between my uncles. So from mild to wild, join me, Jack Bishop, Tuesdays to Fridays at midnight for The Intersection on GABNET Live. It's talk like you never heard it.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
I do the singing thing at the beginning of every show, and it's annoying me. You can't see me. That's right, you can't see me. You know why you can't see me? Because you won't be able to see me for about, 25 minutes, because we have a pre-recorded audio-only interview because the person we're interviewing doesn't have Skype. You know what I mean? But we will have the citizens panel, and we will have our full show in about 25 minutes from right now. But meanwhile, we have to go dial up an old friend. All right, we always have to do it this way. This is the way we start the call to our old friend in California, Stephen Pearl, because he always starts out with something crazy. Here we go. It's ringing. Do I have to tell you that? It's ringing. Yeah. That's what they do on radio.
Let's join Bobby Troop in the songwriting process. Get your kicks on Route 57. Nah, that doesn't work. Get your kicks on Route 48. Ah, shit. Get your kicks on Route 117. No, that's not even... Get your... this sucks. We'll be back after this word from Compose, that gentle blue pill. Hello?
Hello there, Stephen.
Okay, that one worked. Okay, take 147.
Yeah,
we're here.
That just boom, boom. That was comedy gold.
Gold, Jerry, gold, solid gold. I feel like pyrite sometimes in the quarry of life.
Yes. How are you, Stephen Pearl?
Good. How are you, Alex Bennett? How's everything on the East Type Coast?
Well, it's a little overcast today, and it is. Let's see here. We're supposed to get some thunderstorms, and it's been hot as hell. It just constantly is. What the fuck? Okay, hold on a second. Skype just peed on us, is what happened, folks. We'll call him right
Somebody's
now.
going to die. Hello, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. Skype, I paid my bill.
You got to pay that gravity bill, so it'll start floating away.
Yeah.
Well, with the genius of editing, I'm sure we'll have no problem with it.
I just let it happen, and we broadcast it anyway.
It makes it more honest.
Yeah, it makes it, of course. And plus, I'm lazy, and who wants to go back and cut the fucking thing?
Oh, wants to do that shit. Who needs the heartbreak?
Yeah, you know me, Mr. Lazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
me too.
Never want to work too hard. That's why I went to radio, I
don't want to work at all. I'm working hard at becoming an invertebrate.
Well, that's why you became a comic, is you didn't want to work.
Who wants to work? Yeah. Of course, I got to work for 45 minutes tonight. Oh, God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I got to talk for 45 minutes? This job sucks.
Did you ever feel that with comedy you were working?
The traveling felt like working sometimes when I did the road. Doing the show itself was fun, I felt like I was getting paid to get to the gig, not do the gig. Yeah. Getting to the gig could be a pain in the ass, especially if it took American Airlines, but because they didn't usually miss the gig. Well, but other from that, the traveling can be a pain in the ass, but the gig itself is usually fun.
But I often said that people were really mistaken if they felt they had to pay me to do this. Yeah. That I would have done it for free, but I'm not going to tell them that.
Exactly. Well, I did it for free a lot at the beginning, and sometimes I still do it for free when I feel like it. And there's a room nearby.
I did do that, and that's how I got my job at Sirius XM. I kept bugging them for a show, and they said, "Gee, we don't have it in the budget. We don't have it in the budget. We're trying to get it in the budget." I would call them every month. No, still got budget problems here. Finally, I said, "Have lunch with me," and they said, "Okay." I said, "Here's the proposal. Give me a show, I'll do it for nothing."
There you go.
And they said, "That sounds like a good deal." And that's an offer
you couldn't refuse.
They brought me on board, and I was working literally for nothing. Okay? And within about 3 months, the head of programming came to me and said, "This is unacceptable. You're too good. You got to get paid. We're going to give you some..." And he asked me how much money I wanted, and they gave me $25,000 a year more.
There you go. Yeah. Excellent. You should always be paid. You're a master at this.
So
you should be on the radio now, man. What's on now is horrendous.
I can honestly say that I would work this business for nothing, because I have. I am now. Yeah, I'm doing this thing for nothing. For a couple of
be on the air every morning, and I would be your Joe Rogelski. I would be your Ed McMahon.
Couple of hundred listeners, and I'm supposed to be happy with that when I used to have 30,000 a morning. So.
Yeah.
Show
business is fleeting. It's a crazy thing.
I don't even know why. I don't even know why I continue to do this. I guess it's just that it gives me something to do every day. You
do it because you must do it.
Otherwise, I would
quote Dean Martin.
I would just rot.
Yep. I don't perform as much as I used to, but I still would always like to. So
yeah. In other words, if you had to go somewhere 5 nights a week and do your act, you'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, 5 nights a week. If they pay me, I wouldn't do it 5 nights a week for nothing. But sure, if it was nearby, they pay me well. Sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I
wouldn't want to live on the road or anything. I'm too old for that crap.
But I brought this up. I brought this up to you before. How much do you promote yourself in order to get gigs, or do you just sit there and wait for somebody to call?
Well, let's see. I promote myself. Let's see, a .000 minus 1. That's how much I promote myself.
See,
I'm the lazy. I'll go on Facebook. Hey, through my tens of fans, I'll be at this place, and nobody gives a crap. So,
yeah,
and hopefully people show up.
Yeah. Now, but there are people who have made their careers off of Facebook.
Yeah, it can be done.
Every day they put up a pithy piece of comedy, and eventually they get like tens of thousands of fans or whatever, and they're off to the races. Who was that? Who was that horrible comedian? He had a short-lived big history in which he was on everything. They even made a movie with him, and he did it all by internet. He did it all by being online.
Oh, Dane Cook.
Dane Cook
started this. Yeah, billions of people. He wasn't saying anything, but he knew how to use the stage.
Dane Cook now has a new first name, which is Whatever Happened To.
Fine name. A lot of people have it now.
Really? I mean, whatever happened to Dane Cook? Is he around?
He's probably rolling around in the money he made or something. I don't know. Playing the Laugh Factory and demanding to go on for 5 hours, and who knows what.
But I mean, he literally made his bones by being on the internet, and then he became such a sensation that they put him on all the major TV shows, and they gave him a movie contract. He made a movie. He made one movie. I can't remember what it was. And then all of a sudden, everybody realized nobody gave a shit about who Dane Cook was.
Exactly. They started listening to what he was saying. Hey, let's go elsewhere.
But as you say, for
a new generation has come up since he got famous too. So he's like considered an old guy by like newer comedy fans.
Yeah, but I mean the fact
like 15
is
years ago,
that even though he disappeared, probably in the time that he was here, he made a big shitload of money.
Oh, sure. I hope he saved it.
I was talking to Bubs yesterday about Tom Rhodes. Who actually had a TV series that went 19 episodes or something like that. Well, now, and then he went to Amsterdam, and he became a big hit in Holland for some odd
free hash.
There must be something about the people in Holland who go, oh, he's very funny, or whatever their accent is.
It's really good.
I'm doing an Iranian accent for a Dutch person.
Well, no one said we were dialect masters. Let's move on.
Yeah. And he was not a bad comic, by the way, Tom Rhodes.
I like Tom. He's a very nice guy. He does the job, man.
Nice guy, does the job, is very affable, and it was always very nice to me, so I have nothing bad to say about him. But, he had that TV show. Well, how much money did he make off of that? Probably enough to take care of him for the rest of his life, if he wanted to live like you and I. But, But just that brief, and then, of course, in Amsterdam, I'm sure he was really top. He had a TV series. He had a talk show or something like that. And I'm sure he got paid a decent money for that. So even though some people might go, whatever happened to Tom Rhodes probably in okay shape.
Well, no. Every time I see him, he's working somewhere, and I think he was at the Throckmorton last week, here in Mill Valley. So he's always working. Yeah, he's just one of those road warrior guys who's always somewhere.
Well, I mean, here's a guy who's had, let's say, larger success than playing the Throckmorton Theater.
Oh, sure.
Who said to himself, "Well, things don't stay on top all the time, so I'm back on the road again because that's where I want to be." I love comedy.
Some people. Exactly. If you're getting decent dough and you're coming, the tour ends with you coming home with a few shekels in your pocket. There's nothing wrong with being on the road all the time. It's a living. It beats going to Long Island City and working at the Silver Cup factory. I'll tell you that. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, the Silver Cup factory is now one of the biggest television studios in New York, by the way.
Oh man, things have changed. I remember when they made bread there.
They used to shoot
crappy white bread.
They shot The Sopranos there. That was their
did they at Silver Cup?
It turned out that this bread company, this bread factory, was huge, in size, and massive enough to build big sound stages. And now it's the Silver Cup Studios, it's called.
Damn. At least they kept the name. They didn't have to change the sign.
They did not change the sign. The sign Silver Cup is still there as you go into, I guess it's, Queens, I guess.
Queens, Long Island City. I used to work in a factory 3 blocks from there back in the 70s.
Yep.
Pulling down $88 a week.
So don't put down Silver Cup They're big deal, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, you know, a short-lived career sometimes can be very successful, you know. But,
sure.
what I was going to say was, do you know who would be working the Throckmorton if he wasn't anything anymore? Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld. He loves being.
Oh, really?
He loves being a stand-up. He hated being.
Oh yeah, he's always doing stuff like little clubs in New York. He still shows up at and does that. Yeah, he loves it.
You know, he hated doing the series. You know, it's not
really?
He didn't
hate. A lot of money doing that.
He didn't hate it because the money was rolling in. That's the part he liked, but he didn't like the fact that was preoccupying his time so much that he couldn't do the stand-up. Because he really is a true stand-up. I mean, if you watch him doing this comedians in a Cars Getting Coffee show that he does, he really just waxes poetic about comedy, how much he loves it, you know, and you can feel it in him. And the reason he did this show about comedians in cars getting coffee is because he does what most comedians will do when they're together, and that's riff off each other.
Yep.
You know, that's
what we all did, except back then it was comedians at the Crestco Mansion doing coke. But other than that,
no, but what I'm saying is that most comedians, you get a couple of comedians together, and what they start doing is riffing with each other.
That's what they do. That's what we do.
You know, it's like almost like they look upon each other as being in the gym together and being gym partners, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think he wound up doing the show he's doing now, because it allows him to be a comedian and at the same time deal with other comedians and do the riffing, you know?
Yep.
And he loves it when another comic is funny, you know. So
yeah.
You know, there's that respect. But whatever happened to Dane Cook? I have no idea. I couldn't even remember the name. You did.
I think it'll be going on at the Laugh Factory tonight at 8 and going off stage at 2:30 in the morning.
Dane, if you're, if you're listening,
I don't care.
Dane, if you're listening, I would have never wanted you on any of my other radio programs because I considered you a comedic hack. But if you're out there, I'm doing a podcast now. I'd be happy to have you on.
Yeah, come on, please come on.
I've got like 20 listeners, and I'm happy to have Dane Cook on the show. And I won't even ask whatever happened to you.
We'll book you on after Yahoo Serious and Harvey Weinstein. People are begging to come on.
Yahoo Serious.
Remember him?
Vaguely, remind me.
He was an Australian comedian, and they were pushing him as the new big thing. And he did a movie called Young Einstein that went nowhere, and that was the end of Yahoo Serious.
That's right.
I think he had silly hair or something. This was 20-something years ago, maybe more.
Yahoo Serious. Yeah.
Yahoo Serious. Remember that? Came and went.
After this is over,
Fabian of comedy.
I'm going to look up Yahoo Serious and see what the hell ever happened to Yahoo Serious.
Yeah, I think he's a welder in Perth, mate.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then the Russian comic, there was that Russian comic,
Yakov Smirnoff.
Yakov Smirnoff, but he went in Branson, started the Yakov.
He's smart, yeah. He has his own theater in Branson. He's like, he does 2 shows a day, and I think he's home for dinner. And he's raking in the dough, so good for him.
Well, he's home for dinner because all the people who go to Branson are in bed by the time he gets home for dinner.
Of course, they're 95-year-olds, but their money is maybe wrinkled like they are, but it's green too.
And as an older person, let me tell you, that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, you know, I mean...
I know that feel.
Well, you know, I guess if you play that old people circuit down in Miami and stuff, going to the old folks' homes and stuff, I guess you got to do your show around 6 o'clock at night.
Oh, sure. There's comedians making livings doing like assisted living facilities and stuff. So
because they've all,
I wouldn't want to do that circuit, but
they've all come back from Wolfie's from having the early bird. You know.
Yep, the early bird special, and there's like a 5:15 show.
Yeah,
and
right.
5:18 because we get tired.
The dinner show at Wolfie's is at 5:15.
5:15 to 5:18. Then for you who like to party late, there's a late show at 5:19 to 5:25. Gets a little blue.
Yeah, boy. What a drag it is getting older. You know, it's interesting. The Rolling Stones wrote that line when they were like 25 or 20 or something.
Yep.
And,
and time be going on.
It is more appropriate today to me at my age than it was when I first heard it. What a drag it is getting older. Something.
Oh, today is the 50th anniversary of the first rock and or roll type concert I ever saw. 50 friggin' years, half a century ago.
The first,
holy crap,
first rock and roll concert you ever saw.
Yeah.
Now, let me think.
August
what
2nd,
year?
1968. It was a Friday night.
Let me think of who it could have possibly been in '68. Yakov Smirnoff. No.
Exactly. It was his 60th year in show business.
Yahoo Serious. Let me see.
Yahoo Serious with Fabian.
Now, who was your first concert?
Well, the opening act was a little band called Kangaroo. Forgettable. Had the chick singer with the mini skirt and the long straight hair.
Yeah.
The middle act was a kind of getting known in this country at the time band from England called The Who. And the headliners are a band from L.A. called The Doors. And I was corrupted for good after that. Then there was a riot. 50 years ago today.
That's a great way to pop your concert cherry, man.
Oh, it was a great cherry. My father didn't want me to go because I heard about that Morrison guy. Oh, that's why I want to go. I want to see what happens. And he was waiting outside for me and my friend Johnny Roberts, who went with me, expecting the worst. And, of course, there was a riot after they played the end, and we walked through the riot unscathed, and my father threw us into the car, vowing he wouldn't let me out of the house again until I was 36. But it was a great show, man. It was a kick-ass show. Morrison was in good shape. The Who kicked ass and smashed all their instruments, and Kangaroo wasn't bad either. And Scott Muni was the MC, and I was 12 at the time. I was quite impressionable. I'm 19 now.
Scott Muni was the MC?
Yep.
Yeah, Scott Muni, yeah. Right.
We got some great music for it. I remember he said, a lot of you people have heard the Doors on WMCA, and the crowd went, boo, boo. And I know you've heard the Doors on 77 WABC, boo, boo. And I know you've heard them on WNEW-FM, and the crowd went, yay! And he brought the Doors on. And it was fun, man. I think my ears came twice.
Yeah, what was the first concert I ever went to? I think it was Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Rudy Valley.
No, it was Paul Revere and the Raiders, but not the musical group. The original Paul Revere and the Raiders.
The original Paul Revere. That song, "The British Are Coming," was kick-ass. You only sing it at night.
My first concert. I'm gonna have to say this because it is not indelible in my mind. But then again, what you saw was so wonderful.
It was insane, man.
But I think the first actual concert I ever went to was Elvis Presley.
Now, was this in the 50s or the 60s? Or which Elvis was it?
In San Francisco, in the 50s.
Wow. Okay.
And I think it was at the what's that place in the Civic Center? The place in the Civic Center.
The Cow Palace. The ballroom.
It was the big auditorium.
There's only one.
Huh?
Fucking room. It's a fucking room. You saw a big room.
There's only one. Auditorium in the Civic Center. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Okay.
That had it.
I don't know.
And I think they changed the name. I think they changed the name to the Moscone Auditorium or something like that. But
yeah.
They used to do all the very big events there, but I think that's where I saw Elvis Presley.
Cool.
But it's very vague, because there was so much screaming going on, you couldn't hear him,
Yeah. I have a pretty vivid memory of the Doors show. I remember it was a Friday, and I remember the very next night my parents took me to see The Producers, which is still one of my favorite comedy movies. So it was quite a busy weekend.
Well, the thing is that with Elvis Presley, I mean, I should be saying to you, well, I got you beat with the Doors. Elvis Presley was my first, but I would rather the Doors would have been my first for a couple of reasons. Number one, they were more interesting, and secondly, I would be younger then.
Or we all,
But so it was 1968 for you then.
Yeah, 50 years ago tonight, and saw the Doors and the Who and the Kangaroo at the old Singer Bowl. I don't even know that place exists anymore.
I remember here in New York, you could go to the Fillmore Auditorium, and the bills.
Oh, Fillmore was great.
The bills you would see. I mean, I think I went to one once where the Who was the second act.
Yep.
Sure. and I can't remember who the first one was. Where did you see the Doors and the Who and whatever that other group was? Where did you see it?
The Singer Bowl on the Old World's Fairgrounds. I don't know if it's still there or if it's rotting.
Because that almost sounds like a bill.
That almost little mini stadium.
That almost sounds like a bill would have been at the Fillmore Auditorium. You know.
Well, I know the Doors played there and the Who played there on different occasions, but no, it was just there. I was lucky enough to go. So
I remember seeing the Who as a middle act, and they might have been the Doors that opened for them, but I can't remember that. No, that were the main act. But
yeah, when I saw them, it was a year before Tommy came out, and the year before they played Woodstock, which really made the Who superstars, and they were getting known. But they were the middle act that night. They did a kick-ass half-hour set, smashed everything up. Then they cleaned up the mess, and old Jim came out with the boys, and they were very hypnotic.
They didn't get. You would have thought that they were bigger by then because hadn't they already done Monterey?
Yeah, Monterey was the year before, and I think the movie came out that year in '68, the next year. So I don't know what their status was. They were getting known in this country. They were huge in England, but they weren't quite the biggest headliners yet. But they were on their way.
I'll tell you, they did after Tommy. I mean, Tommy was an interesting, work, but they kept doing good stuff for quite a while after that.
Oh, I love the Keith Mooney or Who. Just about everything they did. It was very exciting to watch, and it was like they were like this cartoon that could really play. There's always something going on stage.
I think Who's Next is my favorite album of theirs.
Oh yeah, that was very progressive.
Yeah. But Tommy, I have mentioned this before, not to you, but to the audience. I have in my storage locker 2 test pressings of Tommy by The Who.
Yikes.
And it's got a mimeograph sheet of all the music because it has a blank label on it, right?
Wow.
And
cool.
It says on the mimeograph sheet, Tommy, an opera. Right? And then
that's it.
Somebody, I think, wrote in with a caret there above it, rock.
Rock, that's what'll sell. An opera won't sell to these kids. Yeah, you put rock opera.
So originally they were doing it as an opera. They called it an opera. And so that was pretty good. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure, sure.
But
some people say rock and roll peaked from '69 to '71.
My favorite group of that time, though, and they haven't had the lasting ability of the Who or a lot of others. To me, were the Kinks. I thought they.
I was never a huge fan of them. They were good, but they just never did it for me.
I thought they were great. I thought they were great. I really enjoyed their music. But I love the Who too. The Who are one of my favorites.
Oh, sure. Especially when Keith is in the band. What's going to happen tonight is going to be quite explosive.
We only have a couple of moments left here, but let me point out that if you take a Who record and listen to it today, the technical quality of those recordings is pristine. I mean, what they recorded back in that time isn't lacks any kind of highs and lows in it. It is,
that's right.
And it is as pristine today. If I released that in one of their albums today and said this is a new album by The Who, you'd believe it because it had all the technical quality of a present day album. Really, that's why they lasted so long.
Sure, maximum R&B, mate. Maximum R&B.
That's right. Hey, look.
There you go.
I'm looking at the clock. And it's winding down here.
Winding down.
It says we have another 20 seconons for me to say goodbye to America's fastest rising young comedian.
Yes, it's very good. I'm going to be on a young 62-year-old comedian special, but we better film before November because then I'll be 63.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Stephen Pearl.
Thank you very much. Time for my Geritol. Thank you very much.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
And here we are. Oh wait, I better turn on the air sign, otherwise it isn't official. At least that's what my wife says. She bought me this thing, this sign back here. See? And I have a little remote control doohickey that I use to click it on and off. You see? Well, oh, there we go. Okay. I guess it wasn't pointed in the general direction of the remote control. Let me go get the Skype going here. For as long as it still keeps going, it's been giving Jack Bishop some problems for the last couple of nights. It could be that Skype is trying to fuck things up for everybody, so that they will get up to their new Skype or whatever. Anyway, our Skype line is open, so that means you can call us, and we would love to hear from you. And you do that by, well, go over to gabnet.net, and over on the right-hand side of the page is a whole tutorial on how to call this program, how to use Skype, how to get Skype, how to shove Skype up your ass, how to make it blow you. All those things, and you can actually come join us. All you have to do is, there's even a thing there where you can click on it, and if you've got Skype open, it will dial us. Okay, or dial us. I mean, that's how old I am. Nobody dials anybody anymore. What do they do? How do we replace the term dial? What do we replace it with? Just anyway, click. Go over there and look at it if you don't know how to do it. Also, there's a phone number there. You can call us, and you won't be able to see anybody, and we won't be able to see you, and it's not as much fun, but still, you know, we can live with it. Okay, that's why I have the phone number. I pay, what is it, $3 a month for that phone number from Skype, so come on, you better use it. Some people do use it. We have quite a few people who on a regular basis use it, so. Anyway, so I'm sitting here waiting for calls. That's what I'm kind of belly aching about. Now, Phil wrote me a note and said he's very tired tonight. He's exhausted or something, and he's just going to go to sleep early or whatever, which worries me because, you know, he hasn't been well. And I just hope it's nothing associated with that he's just truly tired. You know, it's funny. I worry about my callers. If I don't hear from somebody like for a couple of weeks, I will write them a note and say, is everything okay? Are you all right? So I do care, and I do care about Phil, in spite of the fact that he drives me crazy sometimes. But last night was a Phil-free night, and I always get the feeling it's going to be a Phil-free night, and then nobody's going to call. It's going to be nothing. Well, as it turned out last night, we had a full house for the first time in a couple of weeks. That means 9 people plus me we call a full house. 10 is plus me is a royal flush. And 11 is we can't fit another one in. That's really what it amounts to. So I'm worried again tonight that because Phil isn't going to call and start the whole thing off with me, that there's not going to be any callers. And so I'm sitting here just kind of waiting for people to call. There's nothing new to report here, except that, you know, as always, I am anticipating this change in Skype coming September 1st. By September 1st, the version of Skype I'm using, which you know, I can show you here. There it is, see? Notice what it says. This version of Skype will be discontinued soon. To continue using Skype in the future, update to the latest version today. Well, I mean, I could update to it, but it looks shitty on my show. It only puts 4 people on the screen at a time with a bunch of balloons saying what else is going on, who else is calling. And if you get over like 2 other people, I understand that there's a balloon that says like how many people are in that balloon. And it's just ridiculous. And it means that I'm going to have to move people up and down and into the picture. And, you know, I really don't know if I'm going to continue this after the, you know, I'm going to give it my best shot. Another problem that I have with it is that I use a thing here called OBS, which is a studio, and it does all the switching. It does this stuff, so I can do that. All right, and it works really well. It's a great little system. It's free too, on top of everything else. But when I try it with the newest version of Skype, because I have both of them loaded into this computer, it doesn't. You can't get the Skype. I could not get that. It would just be blank. Okay. However, if I go over and use my Mac and use OBS over there, I can do it. So come the first, unless somebody at OBS changes things up so that we can use it, or another company does it so we can use it, it's going to be pretty terrible. I'm going to have to do it on the Mac, which is fine, but just it doesn't look as good, and I for some reason, Microsoft, who owns Skype, makes it so it works best on Microsoft products. Okay. So anyway, that the only way I'll be able to do the show is by doing it on the Mac, which is this machine over here, and then you will get a whole different picture of me in a background and everything. But that, so I'm dealing with that. I'm also dealing with the fact that I'm sitting here saying a whole bunch of stuff and nobody's calling. So, I just want to hear from you. We've got like a lot of people listening, so people are waiting to see you. We had a lot of people last night. We had probably the largest amount of viewership at any one time that we've had, I think, ever. I'm not sure, but I think ever. So now I need some callers so that the people who are watching will have somebody to watch. And I don't know who's out there or who's going to call, but if I don't hear, I always say this threat and then I never have to live up to it. But if I don't hear from people within, if I don't hear from somebody, boy, it's getting hot in here. I may have to take this shirt off. Say 6 minutes from right now, I'll have to. I'll call the show off. I'll just go. See, as soon as I say that, here comes Ray Renati, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Renati, who is where are you walking, Ray?
I'm in the house right now.
You're in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you getting ready to go for your walk?
Yeah, I was going to take the dog for a walk, but I just heard you say that no one was calling, and I just thought I'd call and say hello.
It means that I can say something,
Yeah.
By the way,
I had the same problem with Skype today. I was doing 2 interviews on my podcast, and I usually do it on my PC, and I had downloaded the latest version of Skype.
Mm-hmm.
I figured I might as well get on and I can't use this Pamela software I used to use, and I couldn't use OBS, and I had to go over to the Mac and do it, and I found another program that worked still.
What program is that?
It's called, I can't remember. I'll send it to you. I can't remember right now.
The one that worked.
It worked well, and it did 2 tracks too.
On the PC, you mean?
No, on the Mac. It worked on the Mac really well.
OBS works well on.
Oh.
OBS
I didn't
works
try that.
On the Mac too. You can get the video. You don't need video though for your show, do you?
No.
You just need audio. You weren't able to get.
But I found this other one that does video and audio really easily and really well.
Yeah.
And maybe it works with OBS. I don't know.
Yeah, but so anyway, I guess a lot of these people are going to have to figure these problems out before the time hits. But I just hate Microsoft.
I know. It just pisses me off. I read something today where they're supposed to be introducing a creators studio or something for Skype where you can just do it right through Skype.
Well, no, I read that, and they supposedly did it.
Oh.
And it's not out. It's not there.
No, I know it's not there.
It says you go to call, and then you go what is it? Enable NDI or something, and then you use this NDI program, and that will allow you to run the video.
Yeah.
But it's not in there.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't find it either.
Yeah, it's nowhere to be found. Undoubtedly, that was like in something they released 2 months ago, but they decided to take it out now.
Yeah. It probably wasn't working right.
Yeah. But the idea was that Skype would have this special kind of Skype for creators like you and I, right?
Yeah.
Who need to use it, and also to record it, to run it through various video programs and so on and so forth. And no, it's not that. It's not there. It's just it said go over there, and I read all the information. Go to call, and it showed the guy's setup, and then it said use NDI, and he clicked that on. Well, I went to call on both my Mac and my PC, and it didn't happen with either.
Yeah, I did the same exact thing today.
Yeah.
I was so pissed because I saw the video, and when I went to go do what he did, the choice wasn't there.
Yeah, so, you know, Microsoft, again, are a bunch of lying sacks of shit. Somewhere along the line between the time the guy recorded that and now, they did away with that ability.
Yeah. There was some version in between where they had it, and then an update where they got rid of it.
Yeah. What a lot of people do when they come out with something new is they say, hey, do you want to use the new one or do you want to use classic? You know?
Yeah, right.
And actually what they do is they have they run it all from within the same program, but, you know, no such luck with Apple and with Skype in this particular case. So
no.
You know.
Microsoft is such a disorganized company, and I think they're such a large elephant. You know, it's like they have the operating system, and the server systems, and that's their bread and butter, and then everything else is just a bunch of junk.
How is it they have all that shit, but it's Apple that's worth $1 trillion?
I think it's because Apple never, you know, it's opened up to all these other manufacturers.
Yeah, but why? I mean, if you've got Apple owning, well, the PC market, every PC in the world, which makes up about 90% of all computers in the world, have Windows operating in it. So every one of those computer manufacturers paid Microsoft to use Windows in their machines.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in each of those machines, they add like, Microsoft Office. They sell Microsoft Office, and that's the leading program of that sort. Yeah. So with all that going for them, why is it that Apple is the $1 trillion company? In case people don't know, today Apple surpassed $1 trillion in net worth.
Oh, I see. What's Microsoft worth?
About $3.75. I don't know. It's not worth that. I can look it up.
I didn't know that they went down that much.
Let me see here. Microsoft stock. Let's say that. See what comes up. It's trading at $107.57. And it's, let's see here, what's its net worth? I don't see it here. No, it doesn't. I'm trying to find its net worth here. Well, let's see here. No? Market cap.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. They're at $824.9 billion.
And what was Apple?
$1 trillion.
Okay, so Microsoft's a couple $100 million behind.
Yeah.
So, but they're not that far behind.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Apple was that little upstart company, and you know, let's see here.
And they almost went out of business a bunch of times, and now they've surpassed them.
Right here, look at it. The market cap for Apple says right there, 1.00 T. We've never seen that in the stock market before.
Amazing. Well, there's the iPhone, you know, and I think the iPhone was a huge boom for them. Microsoft's phone was a joke.
Microsoft, did Microsoft have a phone?
I think they did for a while, didn't they?
No.
Yeah. They would just have their operating system.
They had an operating system for the phones, but nobody used it.
Nobody used it.
But Google came out with Android, so Android was sold to all these companies that, well, to begin with, Apple's operating system doesn't get sold to anybody.
Right.
So if they wanted to make phones, certain companies, but they didn't want to team up with Apple they couldn't get their OS, so they had to have some kind of operating system, and Google came up with that answer. And let's see, what's Google worth today? I think, do you know who came close today to hitting the trillion? Believe it or not, was Amazon. They were racing to the finish on it. Amazon's market cap, it's at 884 billion, I think. Yeah, I guess that's the way it goes. And
well, I have a friend who used to work at Microsoft, and she said it's just chaos over there. Nobody talks to each other, and you can see it in the products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yahoo, I don't have it here, but
Yahoo's going down.
Yeah, Yahoo's not doing that well. But Google, I wanted to look up Google. That's what I wanted to look up.
Anyway, I'm sure they're doing great.
So nobody's calling us tonight.
What's going on?
This is the night I always feared,
Maybe everybody upgraded their Skype.
Could be.
Can't get through.
Well, I know we're going out. I know the video's going out. I know the phones work. The Skype is working because you called.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Mike, whatever happened to Microsoft? I remember studying in economics that whenever you have a company that's sort of dominating the market, they get cash. They become like a cash cow, and they get lazy, and this is what happens. They just become super inefficient, and they have no reason to be efficient, make new products, be innovative, be organized.
Well, I think there's something else too to be said for it. I think when Gates left, it started going down, and the reason it started going down, it isn't that. You'd like to think no one person can hold a company together. But one person who started the company has enough sweat equity in the place that every moment they're there, they make sure it's working and it's moving ahead. Like, I feel, in spite of their $1 trillion today, that Apple is not nearly the company it was when Jobs was alive. And once he died, even though you had people there who just loved Apple and wanted to see it succeed and all of that, they didn't have that same sweat equity that Jobs had in it, and the same passion. I mean, it was his baby. Yeah. It's not who's the president now of Apple? It's not his baby.
I don't even know.
He inherited the child. He adopted the child. So when you lose that, you lose. I mean, who knows where Apple would be now? What kind of innovations they would have if Jobs were still alive? Meanwhile, all we're getting are redos and upgrades of the iPhone, redos and upgrades of the iPad. Nothing new. Nothing really new.
And oh God. The couple of times that Jobs went away from Apple, they got into big trouble. Well, they brought him back each time.
Well, they fired him.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Yeah.
And when they fired him, they went into the toilet. I remember those machines they were making. They were shit.
Oh yeah,
they were absolute shit. And then
Power PC.
They finally brought Jobs back in. He didn't come in initially as being a CEO or anything like that. He came back in as a consultant in a consultant position.
And then he was interim CEO for a long time or something like that.
Yeah. And the fact was that the idea that saved Apple without question. Wasn't another computer. They were no iPod.
Oh, the iPod, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the iPod changed the whole, dynamic of what was happening.
Yeah, everyone had an iPod.
Yeah. and that saved Apple.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the iPod gave way to the iPhone, and the iPhone actually kind of became the iPod. I mean, I use my iPhone as my iPod now.
Yeah, me too. You don't really need an iPod anymore unless you're like an aerobics instructor or something, and you don't want phone calls while you're playing your music over the loudspeaker.
Oh, well, look who's calling. Look who's calling. Of course, this doesn't mean the show gets any better. Tony Magno, ladies and gentlemen, is calling. Hello, Tony. Thank you for calling on what is a pathetic show tonight. It's the Ray and Alex show.
I find it interesting, the Apple talk, so I says I have to call up. I always find it interesting, the technology.
People love the technology stuff.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, and Alex, you know what I remember too? I never owned Apple, but I remember when Jobs first, one of the times he left, didn't he buy some kind of operating system, Next? He codenamed it
No,
Next,
he didn't buy it. He actually he left Apple, and with some of the money that he had, he started a company called Next.
I remember that.
And I remember
those were some great computers.
They were incredible computers. I remember we had one at Live 105 in San Francisco.
I remember reading on that. I never had a Mac at the time, and I was always wanting one because I was more of a Gates guy. But you were right. Jobs seemed like he really was truly a visionary, where he probably didn't have. He saw what people needed, and then he knew how to get it done with the other guy.
Part of the problem with Next was it was an incredibly expensive machine. It was just it wasn't meant for you and me. I think they started at something like. Do you remember how expensive they were? I remember
reading about it in the computer magazine.
Right, they were like $8.
If I remember correctly, they were somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000.
Yeah,
just for the basic. Yeah,
and
they're beautiful machines too. They're just really nice looking machines.
But he kind of closed down Next and went back to Apple. And what he did when he went to Apple is he took all the tech that they had created at Next and applied it to the Apples, So he took his tech with him, and that was a hell of a machine, but it was too expensive. Not the average person wasn't going to buy one.
And you want to laugh? I was going to tell you this.
Oh, wait a minute! I got to tell you one other thing.
Oh yeah.
The Next had a plasma screen. Up until then, all screens were black and white, right? And this was plasma, and it wasn't color, but I think it was a red coloring on the lettering and stuff. And it was a very, very well-defined screen. So
the best graphics I think you could get at the time.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Which were shit, but the best you could get at the time.
Yeah.
You wonder though.
Didn't he have something to do with B computer or something like that?
That I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Next, I followed that for a while.
Oh, I thought
then he went to Pixar. After that, Alex, or before?
No, he started when did he start Pixar? I'm trying to remember.
Was it after Next or no? I wasn't sure. I was used to follow him.
I think it was when he went back to Apple. I think he invested in Pixar, or I think he invested in Pixar while he wasn't at Apple. I mean, this guy Lasseter came to him and said, I got an idea to do computerized. What he had was a program, and the program was called Pixel, I think.
I mean,
he could do animations with it, and so Jobs said, "Good deal. I'll invest in this."
He's smart. He saw it right away, Alex. He knew when something was good.
Wait a minute. Pixar. No, Pixar is the name of the company. What was the name?
Yeah.
Render Man. That was the name of it.
Oh,
Render Man. And I'm trying to remember. I think he bought Render Man was started with money from Lucas, I believe.
Wow.
And then Jobs bought and they started Pixar, and it was owned by Lucas. I think I'm right on this. And then Lucas sold it to Jobs, and that's when Jobs put an infusion of money into it, and they started doing all the great animation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I love every one of those movies they make. I mean, I saw every one.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff they were doing early. I mean, one of the earliest animations they did was that light stand.
The lamp comes out.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that.
They still use that.
It was called. It was called, and the video was called Luxo, I think, was the name of the lamp. And they just.
I remember when that first came out. I was so amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Toy Story. I saw that like 2 or 3 times in the theater. I was like, this thing. It was just so good. To me, it reminded me of like Disney, early Disney movies.
Well, you know, I was a very big purist about animation, and I went, who needs this kind of animation? You know, who needs computer animation?
I love the old Disney.
You know, wait a minute, let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I was I loved regular animation. It was a real art. Somebody sat there with a pen and ink and drew pictures and drew enough of them that eventually they moved, right? So it was always a big deal for me that animation was an artist's ability. And I didn't think that computers could do anything to even come close. And now I think that most of the computerized animation is better than any of the drawn animation that we had in the past. That they do things with it and add beauty and luster to it that you could have never done by hand, you know. And and they've done character development and everything else with it. So I find that I'm a big fan now of computer animation. In fact, I don't even think of it as computer animation anymore. I just think of it as animation like I always thought of animation. So that's me. All right. Here we are, an hour into the show. We got only 2
Books
people.
About acting. And he goes around the world and he does lectures about teaching animators how to make their characters realistic and have their own personalities and
who does
stories.
That? Who does
his name is Ed Hooks.
Really?
Yeah. He lives in Portugal now. He's a good friend of mine. He makes his living doing this. And it's because they can do so much with the animation now. They can make these characters real. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Whereas before they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you look at a movie like Ants, even. You know, and everybody, all the characters have their own personalities and realistic expressions and reactions to everything.
It's interesting. Pixar has always led the pack. You know, whenever they have a new film come out, it's always got some new little nuance to it that makes people in the industry gasp. Okay, but nevertheless, all these other guys have come up behind them using their tech and have done a beautiful job. Some of them, you know. So in fact, for a while there were a couple doing a better job than Pixar. Pixar was kind of lagging behind because they didn't have storyline or things like that. But then, most recently, they came out with what I think is one of the most beautiful films they've ever done, Coco, which is just a gorgeous film.
That's the name of my dog, too.
Yeah, we know that, Tommy.
I'm going to have to see that. What's it called?
Coco.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Nice.
Yeah. And they came out with Frozen, but Frozen was under the Disney banner. It wasn't a Pixar picture, but Frozen was beautifully done.
Yeah, that was a nice movie too. I saw the play.
You know.
Yeah.
But all of it, you know, even though they aren't Pixar pictures, the Disney animation, it was headed by John Lasseter, who they've brought back, thank God. Who developed just the whole. He started Pixar, so he became the president of Disney Animation. So a lot of this stuff coming out is Disney Animation, but it's also Pixar. I mean, Frozen was out of the Disney arm of the company and was just, I think, easily the best Disney picture ever.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, just wonderful. But it was all done with computer animation. So
I don't think I've seen it yet.
Yeah.
Who did Up? Who did the one Up?
That was Pixar. That was Pixar.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
You know, but I mean, they've done some lovely work. I had a friend who worked over there. He says since quit, who worked with them from the very beginning. He was with them when they were with Lucas. You know, and it all kind of fell under Industrial Light and Magic. And then Lucas, I think, just decided he didn't want to invest. He didn't have the time or the inkling to really go headlong into this computer animation. And so here comes Jobs, says, I'll take it off your hands. And he said, good, cool. And he bought it. I don't know how much he bought it for. But, yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, I've run out of stuff to talk about. And nobody's calling.
Yeah, where is everybody tonight?
I don't know. This may be it for me. I may just give up after this. But I want to talk about something that will be close to Ray's heart. Because Ray sent me something about the fact that this one psychologist feels that Donald Trump is losing his mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wasn't that a great video?
I watched some of it. I didn't have time to watch all of it. Would you care to just explain a little bit about what it was about?
Well, this was this guy, his background had something to do with analyzing people's personalities, and I think he had some kind of job in the government at one time. He's a psychiatrist, and he is able to watch Trump on television, and was able to diagnose him with all sorts of different mental illnesses.
Well, you know, I find that a little off-putting, and I'll tell you why.
I did too, a little bit. I just thought it was really interesting.
I don't think that a competent psychiatrist would consider psychoanalyzing somebody by television. You know what I'm saying?
Well, his argument was, though, that he was able to actually see more of Trump than he was of anybody who actually came to him in his office. Because there were so many hours of footage to watch.
Well,
but I do understand what you're saying, though.
But still, to not have that person there, and to be going through your psychoanalytic techniques, is a bit, I don't know. It's off-putting. But do you know who Omarosa is? Omarosa?
Yeah.
Her full name is Omarosa Manigault Newman. And she was on, among other things, The Apprentice, that's where she got known, and she was kind of like, the evil person on the show. She was one of the evil contestants. And then when Trump went into the White House, he made her an assistant to him. Probably the only black person in the White House. But anyway, and then all of a sudden one day she was dumped unceremoniously. All of a sudden she was gone. Well,
and there were all these rumors that she went berserk and was yelling and screaming at Trump and everybody.
Well,
she was leaving.
She's written a book. She's written a book.
Yeah.
And this comes out of the Daily Mail. She says something seriously was going on in Donald's brain. She tells how President Trump exhibited a mental decline that could not be denied as she watched his rambling Lester Holt interview in her explosive book. A couple of the things she brings up in an excerpt from the book exclusively obtained by the Daily Mail, the former White House assistant to the president makes a case for mental decline. Hope Hicks had gone over the briefing on discussing Comey's firing with him a dozen times, Omarosa says. Throughout his erratic and contradictory interviews, I kept thinking, oh no, this is bad, she writes. The book promises to deliver the juiciest insider scoop yet about Trump and the Trump White House. And last week it was reported that Omarosa had been interviewed by federal investigators in the Trump Cohen probe. Now, I have a little bit more that I took off of this. Hold on a second. I've got I wish I would make paper so it separates easily. In the exclusive excerpt obtained by the Daily Mail, Omarosa, who first met Trump when she appeared on The Apprentice and later became an assistant to the president, tells of the dread she felt while watching Trump's interview with Lester Holt last May. While watching the interview, I realized that something real and serious was going on in Donald's brain. His mental decline could not be denied. Many didn't notice it as keenly as I did because I knew him way back when. They thought Trump was just being Trump, off the cuff. But she says that since she knew him back then, she could tell the difference, and there's something definitely wrong with the man.
Well, that doctor said something very similar. He said, he'd go back and he watched Trump in some of his older interviews in the 80s and 90s and compare them to his interviews now, and he had a robust vocabulary back then, and he was able to speak in complete sentences without repeating words, and he doesn't seem to be able to do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, that was near the end of the interview, if you didn't get that far. But
yeah, I didn't get that far. But
yeah,
I think there is something wrong with him. And this is something, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this isn't the first time this has happened in the presidency, that we've had some president who went batshit. I mean, Nixon was pretty close to going batshit. Yeah. When he was supposedly in his last days at the White House, was talking to the paintings of the presidents.
Hey, Alex, can it be the pressure of the job, maybe, you think?
No. Yes. I mean, of course there's a pressure to the job, but then again, isn't this Mr. Business? Isn't this the guy who ran multi-billion-dollar companies?
Unless he's in over his head and he don't know what to do.
He was in over his head the day he decided to run.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And
he knew it. I don't think he expected to win.
I don't think he wanted to win.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so
I
either.
think he wanted what he would get after the fact. He probably wanted a television network. He was going to get a news network. Had Roger Ailes all set up to get it going the day after he lost.
Yeah.
Okay. And I often liken it to the producers. Where do we go wrong? Where do we go right? That you do. We'll run a campaign. We'll do everything we can to lose, and then when we lose, we'll take blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, you find out you won, and you go, "What the fuck do we do now?"
Yeah,
exactly. I think you're absolutely right, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. So and as a matter of fact, I said it reminded me of the producers, and then I can't remember who did it, but they did do a parody of the producers, but with Trump. It was actually, I think they used who did they use? They used the guys that did the Broadway show, which was Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, and the plot goes, what if we get somebody and we have him say all these terrible things and run him for president, and then we'll get all the money that we get out of all that whatever blah blah blah, and the same plot, but it's Trump, and where do we go right?
Did you ever see the second season of Curb Your Enthusiasm when Mel Brooks hired Larry David to be Bialystok?
Yeah.
And then you find out at the end he did it to try to get to bring on the demise of the musical, the producers, because he was so tired of having to deal with it on Broadway.
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Well, they did a nice job of recreating it. I think they actually went to the Broadway theater, and actually, Larry David was doing the show.
He was, and they had the cast, the ensemble, and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like he's funny, Larry David, when you watch it. I wonder if he's like that in real life, like just kind of laid back like that.
I heard he is.
I mean, he probably has funny stories like that. Because he said, did you say, Alex, once he got himself fired? It's in an interview from Saturday Night Live. He just got up and walked out and says, I quit. And then he showed up the next week to work. He said, they didn't think they were taking him seriously.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know that he was ever a writer at Saturday Night Live, but he could well have been. A lot of people went through there. I knew people who were on Saturday Night Live as writers and so on, who got out of there pretty quickly because it's a real real clusterfuck over there. You know, it's a matter of playing politics, and everybody's fighting to get their writing on the air, and you know, the cast is fighting to get a part on that week's show, and it's you know, you
wonder if it's a lot of you. You're probably right. It's probably like a big tug of war for everything. Like they have to like you probably to put something up.
Yeah. But anyway. Well, nobody else.
Well, when John Cleese, is it too noisy here?
No, it's not too noisy.
Okay. When John Cleese was asked about what it was like to host Saturday Night Live, that's what he said. Because when on the Monty Python set, they would get there at 8 o'clock Monday morning and work their asses off and learn their lines. And he gets to the Saturday Night Live set, and they're just fucking around until Thursday. And then it's like, oh shit, we got to get a show together. And then, you know, come Thursday, they just throw everything together. People are competing to try to get in the early spots. And then that's why nobody learns any of the words. That's why most of the skits don't have endings. They spend half the week just fucking around, he said.
Well, you know, I often ask the musical question, when was the last time that Saturday Night Live was really any good? And I have to say maybe the first season.
Yeah.
You know, after that it became it was not very good. Not very good
spotty.
At all.
It's spotty.
Hey, listen.
And there were seasons that were just absolutely terrible all the time.
Hey, listen, folks, last night we had, number one, a lot of people listening. We have a lot of people viewing it right now. But we also had a full house. Now, where is everybody tonight? Why am I sitting here? It's not that I don't mind these two people. I think the world of them. But, you know, it does not make a complete show without a round robin of people talking about stuff. And so if you're not going to call this program, you know, I don't see any reason why I should be doing it, okay? It's getting to that, okay? This is the slowest it has ever been tonight. This is literally the slowest.
Is there something on, is there a sporting event?
I don't think so. I doubt it, you know.
Something there, you know, the Yankees were getting killed.
And, you know, what do you call it? Mars is slowly moving away from Earth, so, you know, isn't everybody out looking for Mars? I got a good photograph of it last night.
Yeah, that was it. I saw it on your page.
No, but I got one that I haven't put up on the page, where it's like round and red. And
I got a tree in the way. I can't see it.
Well, then go outside and look around the tree.
Well, it's in the neighbor's yard. I'm going to have to go up on my roof.
Yeah. Well, if you get that star, what is it? What I call the program? Star whatever. That program is perfect. It is just perfect. Yeah. It's called. Wait a minute. It's called. Let me.
I downloaded it.
Night Sky. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Night Sky. Yeah, there you go, folks. There it is. And what it does is it shows you the night sky. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me bring up my. I have to get some stuff out of the way. Let me bring up my camera here, and I can show the people out there the night sky. Okay. Wait a minute, I got too much stuff in the way. I got too little room here. Anyway, let me go here. No, that's not. That's what I wanted. Okay, and it's a program. Here it is. Look at it. I can. Of course, I got too much light coming up there, but you see how it shows the night sky, and wherever you move, it kind of goes in that direction, and you can literally, it shows where Mars is, and then you can look out your window or wherever you are and just take what you find here and look up. Like, for instance, I would imagine if I go like this, well, there's Jupiter, and there's Saturn, and there's Mars. And so Mars is in that direction tonight, right outside my window, and that would be about where it should be. It's called.
When I was using mine, it was a little off. I think I need to calibrate the compass on my iPhone.
Could be, but it's called Night Sky, and it's pretty good. Here, look, calling from Thailand. It's Keenan calling tonight. Hello, Keenan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna put you. I'm riding a taxi, so I'm gonna hopefully switch the camera around.
Oh, okay.
Let you guys see the sights.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna turn off the microphone because it might be too noisy.
Okay, you have to turn the camera on though.
Okay.
You know where you turned it on last night?
I think I'm figuring it out.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, and turn it
Yeah,
and turn it sideways. Turn it sideways
like
so
this.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put on mute.
Okay.
Is it too much noise for you?
No, it's fine. Actually,
Okay.
if it gets to be too noisy, I'll let you know. There we go.
Perfect.
He's in a taxi cab, ladies and gentlemen, in Thailand.
I'm going to my wife's old neighborhood where she lives. We're gonna go shoe shopping for Thai shoes.
Now, I assume it's Bangkok, right?
Yeah.
That is an old joke, you know. Bangkok? No, you? Yeah. So, look. You know, you go to a country. Here you are. We're in Bangkok, Thailand, and what are we going past? A Volvo dealership. You know, you just don't feel like you're in some exotic land. You know, with people with rings on their necks and things like that. Doing this kind of thing, you know. Wait a minute. You know something? I didn't switch back. There we go. There we go. I didn't switch back, so they couldn't see you. So what you're looking at?
Is the video breaking up?
A little bit, you know, but
yeah.
But hey, you know, a few years ago we couldn't do this. All right. So
I know, it's amazing.
So, you know, imagine if you weren't moving, if the car weren't moving, we'd probably get a little better picture, but it's fine.
It's getting blurred now, right?
Yeah, no, it's fine. We see it. It's choppy, but what the hell? For a while there, I wasn't even showing it. I had the picture of me, and I forgot to go back to the picture of the Skype wall.
This is a funny story, but yesterday when we were in traffic, our taxi driver fell asleep.
What?
Our taxi driver fell asleep while we were waiting and sitting in traffic.
I hope the car was stopped.
Well, we were stopped, but the other cars were moving around us after a while.
And did you woke him up?
Well, he eventually woke up. So.
He eventually woke up. You mean you didn't feel compelled to wake him up?
Yeah, he finally woke up. It was a good laugh.
Do they?
Like after how long? A few minutes?
It was probably about a minute or so.
Oh God!
And it wasn't even Uber, right?
No, it wasn't Uber. They don't have Uber here. They have Grab.
They have what?
It's called Grab. Grab.
Grab. Wow.
Yeah, like grab yourself.
Grab a cab. Things like that.
Yeah, grab a cab.
We're going past some place that has a lot of flags. What is that? The future begins here. Boy, I don't see anything that I can't read. What is this?
It's actually a building they're putting up a condo tower.
Are you really in Bangkok, or are you just putting us on? Because
it's actually
a plushie dog for Shecky takes it.
Here's the video, the picture of on Facebook of the guy, taxi cab driver, falling asleep.
Oh, there we go. You can see that, folks. Now wait a minute. Now there you are. You have an iPhone X. And what phone are you using to do this?
I'm using iPhone X.
Well, yeah, but
I love the phone.
But the phone you just showed us was an iPhone X.
Yeah, it was my best friend's phone. He showed us a screenshot on Facebook.
Yeah. Boy, okay. Now this is starting to look like maybe we're in a foreign country. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I just saw a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, 7-Elevens are all over the place.
You know,
and they're the best thing.
Oh, look, there's a guy on a motorcycle giving us the V signal.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a shot of a family on a moped.
Yeah.
You can get a Slurpee.
I'm going to take my...
Yeah, the only thing that 7-Elevens don't have are Slurpees.
They don't got Slurpees out?
No. You know why? They don't in China either.
Why?
Because in Asian countries like that, correct me if I'm wrong, Keenan, they don't like ice.
Holy jeez.
Am I right, Keenan? Keenan, can you hear me?
I never knew that.
You know, it's amazing. Most of our show is outdoors today. You've got Ray walking and Keenan in the cab. Can you hear me, Keenan?
What was that?
Keenan, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, what I said to you was the reason why 7-Eleven doesn't have Slurpees is in Asian countries, I know this is true in China, they don't like ice.
Yeah, they have iced coffees and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure exactly if the ice is an issue with them, because when we go to restaurants and stuff, they have buckets of ice, for beers and water and stuff. So it's not a problem with the Thai people.
Well, in China, they start off the meal not with ice or whatever. They don't use ice.
It's warm water.
Hot water.
Yeah,
and
that's what I do at home too. I drink hot water more than cold water.
What, before starting a meal?
Yeah, or generally throughout the day. I don't drink too much cold water because I want to just keep my intestines healthy.
Well, there's some reason why they do hot water, and I can't remember what it is exactly, but they say the cold water is not good for your insides.
Yeah, it helps with digestion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's why no Slurpees in 7-Elevens. I went to the 7-Eleven in Beijing and did not find a Slurpee machine.
They're building lots of condos here.
Maybe they don't want to get ice headaches.
Brain freezes. Yeah. Well, let's see here. Now if you showed me that, I'd go, okay, we're in Thailand. Okay, there's some foreign writing there. But where are you exactly in Bangkok right now? And where are you going? Can you hear me?
Can you hear the music in the background?
Yeah.
Okay, is it too loud for you?
No, but where's that coming from?
It's coming from the taxi driver's radio.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is it the latest tunes from in Thailand?
Unfortunately, I can't understand what they're saying.
Do you understand the language?
Just very little, very little. So I depend on my wife to do all the communication.
So, in other words, for instance, your parents were from Thailand, right?
No, I'm Chinese, actually.
Oh, you're Chinese. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my father was from China and my mom's from Hong Kong.
Oh, okay. Fine. I love
See all the scooters going by?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There are probably more scooters than there are cars, I would imagine.
Yeah, they're zipping in and out of traffic. It's the easiest way to get around.
It's also the easiest way to get killed, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you see many accidents? Are there many accidents there, or does everybody tend to avoid everybody else?
I haven't seen too many, but I've seen a lot on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But during the Thai New Year's in April, there's a lot of accidents because a lot of Thai people, they drink, and they're drinking, driving don't mix, of course. So usually that's when a lot of high death rates.
You're Chinese. Do you speak any Chinese at all?
Pardon?
Do you speak any Chinese at all?
Yeah, I speak Cantonese.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now the question would be, here you are in Thailand, which is an Asian country. Is there any carryover in the languages?
Yeah, some things like the numbering system. The numbers are almost the same.
Yeah.
Some basic stuff like coffee and tea is almost the same. Like some of the like vegetables and poultry, like chicken, is the same. Almost sounds the same.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad.
So you could understand.
Here's a big row of suitors.
You can understand a little bit of it.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because I went to.
Of course, I have to.
When I went to
learn.
When I went to China, what I found was difficult was learning any of the language at all.
Yeah.
It is such a different language, those Asian languages, from what you are used to as an Anglo, that it's very hard to learn. And I only learned like 5 words in the whole time I was there. One was ni hao, which is hello. Another one was bing, which meant ice. Ice. See, you know what I'm saying? And then the other one, which was very helpful to me, was booyah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
It means supposedly what it means. I went booyah. Somebody told me how to say that. It meant get away from me.
Yeah, it's actually. Let me see if I can pronounce it. Booyah.
Yeah, booyah.
So.
Yeah. And it's kind of like get away from me, like because you would.
It's actually booyah. Booyah.
Because I would go to these places, tourist places, and these people would come up and keep trying to sell you stuff, and you'd want them to go away because they were bugging the hell out of you. If you just said no, they just kept bugging you. But if you went booyah, they went away. So that was another word I learned.
Did you ever run into, like, when you're in the main streets where there's a lot of massage parlors, the hawkers will run up to you and try to take you into one of those parlors?
No, I didn't know there were hookers in.
Tell them to go away.
I didn't know there were hookers in China. Where are we getting that wind from? Are we getting it from you, Ray? Ray?
Yeah, it was from me. I'll mute.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, we were getting wind from Ray. Gee, Tony, don't you and I feel like we're out of it here? We're not going anywhere. I should have taken my show outdoors today.
I was hot today. I was watching the neighbor's puppy when they went away, so they let me use the pool a little bit next door.
Really?
They had a little above-ground pool, so I was just reading and I went in the pool.
They have a swimming pool?
It was hot
in New York City, they have a swimming pool?
No, my next-door neighbor has a little pool.
You mean like a wading pool?
No, it's like a 4-footer. You know what I should do? I should take my camera out there and go in the pool. And I can put my light on. You can see me swimming.
Wow.
This boat.
Oh, there's a normal gas station. As I say,
and a Mickey D's.
And a McDonald's. Boy, do I feel like we're in a foreign country. I feel more like we're in a foreign country looking at Ray's video.
Ray's jogging somewhere. Hey, where's Phil tonight? I thought he was calling.
Phil is not feeling well.
Our country does feel foreign, though.
Huh?
The USA does seem foreign to us now.
Yeah. You were saying porn in hookers in China?
Yeah, it's
I never. Here is like the shoreline.
Yeah, if you go to
behind this fence.
You got to stop.
Behind this fence.
Wait a minute.
Behind this fence is private property. And if you when people go duck hunting, whoever owns this, they open this up and they go to the end and they duck hunt. And it's like 10 minutes from my house. And so, like, sometimes you're walking around here and you're hearing people shooting ducks down at the end there.
I have to cut this short.
Really
I gotta
weird.
take the dog.
Are you going to leave us? We only got 3 of us and you're leaving us?
I apologize, but she's barking.
Okay, well,
sorry.
You're not the one that should apologize. The people who are not calling tonight are the ones that should apologize. Let me see. So we've just lost Tony, folks. We could use another person. Actually, the whole show is outdoors tonight. If you're watching this, if you're listening to if you're not watching it and you're listening to it, well then. You probably should be watching it. Let's see. Is anybody listening? Yeah, we got tons of people listening, tons of people watching. I just don't know why nobody's calling. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Renee Collins. Listen to this. What? Look at this. We got Ray outside, okay, in California. We've got Keenan on the streets of Bangkok, Thailand. And we've got Renee coming to you live and direct from Hawaii, from the Big Island. How you doing, Renee?
It's nice, but it's gray outside, so it's wonderful to see both Ray and also Thailand.
Yeah.
I guess it's clear over there on both sides of me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're getting a full. So this show is really quite international tonight. I'll tell you something I really like, Renee. I have. Do you have Apple TV? And do you notice those screensavers they have?
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night.
Wow. Quite a few of them were done on the Big Island.
Oh, it's all wow. The amount, and to see it in a 75-inch television, it's still as clear as day.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, those are some beautiful videos they made. And the ones in Hawaii are all from the Big Island, so all I could think of was you.
Yeah, thank you. And James.
And James, yeah. Yeah, some nice beaches there. It's a beautiful island.
Hey, James, I'm going to be in Hilo on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. How far away is Hilo from you?
Well, it's only about 2 hours, but James lives. I'm taking a helicopter ride, and the helicopter rides out of Hilo.
I'll tell you, Keenan, you might mute because the music is starting to kind of drown Renee out.
All right.
So mute, but come in and talk to us whenever you want to. Don't feel shy about doing that. In case you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, in your upper left-hand corner is a man walking his dog named Ray Renati. He's in California. In the upper right, you've got Renee, and she's in Hawaii on the Big Island. And then down at the very bottom there, Keenan has checked in from Bangkok. And we're seeing all the advertising on the side of trucks now. Now I can't read any of that, okay? Is
it left to right?
Wait a minute. Did I just see the word? Now, hold on a second. Keenan, did I just see the word on that bus, Botox?
I think you did. They do a lot of surgery here. Elective surgery. And for some reason, it's not that expensive.
There we go. Wait a minute. It's coming up. Wait a minute. No, maybe this isn't the truck. But
this is for eggs. They're selling eggs or something.
It's for eggs. Albumin. I see the word albumin. That would be eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, Botox is worldwide. Yeah. Anywhere you have a cow, you've got the ability to do Botox.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boy, that really. But it kind of makes you feel good, doesn't it? When you're in a country and there's a whole bunch of writing you absolutely don't understand, and then you see a word you do, and you suddenly think, "Hey, I'm getting to know the language." You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Alex, you kind of harped on yourself and said when you were in China, you only learned like 5 words. You weren't in China that long. So 5 words is still not bad.
I can't remember the other 3. That's the problem. Ni hao. Okay. Keenan, how do you say thank you?
Pick a language.
In Thai or?
In Chinese.
In Chinese, it's Dolce.
What?
Dolce?
But see, I speak Cantonese. You were in the Mandarin speaking portion of China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, that's
the Mandarin speaking people in the mainland don't understand what I'm saying in Chinese.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Oh, that was a Botox truck right there. The one you're showing us right now is where I saw the word
honey.
Oh, it's for honey? Okay.
How do you say it wait, we're in Taiwan. So how do you say it in Taiwanese then?
Kapun Krop is in Thai.
So almost Captain Crunch. So say it again, please.
Kapun Krop. See, there's 2. The guys say it differently. The girls say it differently. It's a different ending word. So the girls would say Kapun Ka, which Ka is for the girls to say. Krop is what the guys say.
Yeah. But I think I learned how to say thank you, but I think I've forgotten how to say thank you in Chinese. But ni hao is hello and goodbye.
So you don't assign.
I think it's xie xie, right, in Mandarin.
What is xie? Xie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, if you think Mandarin is hard, you should try to learn Thai. That is ridiculous.
Really?
It's so hard. Oh my God! And the names, you can't pronounce the names.
Well, apparently Keenan hasn't learned much Thai because he says he has to have his wife. He has to have his wife do the translating for him. Yeah. let's see here. Honey, I see. See, now I speak Taiwan. I can speak in Thailand. She's a very beautiful lady. That woman on the picture.
Well, yeah,
attractive.
because she's everything. This is the issue. If you have that porcelain skin, you see that is very wanted in most of the world. And on the other side of it, the beautiful creamy skin that the darker skin tones as well. So it's absolutely beautiful. But the big thing about both of those genres is that they don't have wrinkles very often or very little. So everybody in between ends up with all the wrinkles. So if you're a person with dark skin pigment, you will have less wrinkles. And then these beautiful women in Asia who have a very porcelain look to them, that they don't have many wrinkles either. So
even when they get old, I've seen very old Chinese women that look very wrinkly.
Renee, I think it's because they stay out of the sun. I mean, my girlfriend from college, she's Chinese, and she never stayed out of the sun. And I saw her a couple months ago, and her skin is just awful. And I was completely taken aback. Yeah.
Wow.
But all the Asian women in my neighborhood here, when they go out and walk, they always cover their face.
There's the word Botox just
hands.
went by a while ago. It's not now, but I see it on the show. It's going out right now.
I hope it doesn't get dark, because I'm going to walk over to a place where there's a piece of the Berlin Wall in the parking lot of some company over here.
Oh, cool.
Really?
And it's only like 200 meters away. So
by the way, hello to
it's amazing.
A good evening to Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
Hey, Kevin.
Good evening. How are you?
We're just fine. You've been calling late the last couple of nights. You've been like doing stuff and.
Yeah, I was at a meeting tonight.
A meeting?
Rushed home to get on the Gabnet show tonight.
Good, because we were having a little trouble here having enough people.
But look what I got.
Good.
And what was going to cost me $110, I got for free.
Congratulations.
Well, how did you get it for free?
I called them up and told them that they were going to charge me $110 for it, and they said, "Come by and get a free sample." And I said, "Okay."
Where
nice
you
move.
Called the company or you called your doctor?
My doctor.
Oh, and he.
What is it? I can't. Oh, the move. I can't see it. What is it?
It's Prep.
Bowel movement prep kit.
Oh yeah, I just paid an arm and a leg for that.
It's the exact same one they were going to charge me for at CVS.
Why does it cost so much? There's this other stuff, the citrate. That's in a little bottle about that big.
Yeah,
and
I wrote it down.
Yeah, the sodium. What's it called? Sodium citrate or orange citrate?
Yeah, magnesium.
Citrate costs like $3, $4 a bottle.
Yeah,
it takes
go get that.
It takes two bottles. You do one the night before.
The pharmacist told me to go get this coupon, so I went and got the coupon, and that knocked it down to like $75 or $65. And I went, well, $65. My wife tried to pick it up, and it was like $45. And I said, no. So they said, well, let's call your doctor and see if we can get a little cheaper. And my doctor called me the other day and said, you were complaining at the pharmacist. And I said, yeah. I said, this is it's a damn juice. And
no, what it is they're charging you $100 to get diarrhea.
Yeah, really. I mean, I can work that out myself, I think.
and that's not diarrhea. That's a full-fledged cleaning of your eyeballs the back way.
I can run down to Taco Bell and work that out real quick.
They tell you, keep doing it till you run clear. And
they include your blood in that as well. Sorry.
I cleansed out so well, I actually passed the dinner I was going to have that next night.
Yeah, I believe I believe that. Yeah.
There she is again. There she is. There's that.
About a product that actually works really well for once.
Wait a minute. There's the beautiful bee woman, and
it's horrible.
All I want to know, and what is it? It's an ad for honey, right, Keenan? Well, maybe you can't hear me.
Honey and Botox, I believe.
Honey and Botox on the same bus.
It's like a serum.
Oh, you're thinking
you're honey serum.
Honey serum. And so the word...
They took out the Berlin Wall piece. Oh man,
What-
it was
what-
right here for years. Damn it!
Wait,
Sorry.
you're in.
I'm in Palo Alto. There's a place where somebody had the Berlin Wall right there.
Yeah.
A piece of the Berlin Wall. It's gone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Son of a bitch.
So you know what people? So all of the weird shit.
I gotta find it.
Speaking of plastic surgery shit, people over here are getting their blood pumped. They're pumping oxygen into their blood on a weekly basis.
Wait a minute. I just got a thing from Tim Albright that says that. Hold on a second. Let me go to it. Tim Albright, the radio guy, Art Bell, died, but I thought he died several weeks ago. No, he died April 13th in Pahrump, but the Clark County Coroner's Office says a mix of 4 drugs killed him. He died of an overdose of drugs. This was Art Bell.
What were the 4 drugs?
Huh?
What were the 4 drugs?
I don't know. Let me see if I can get the bigger amount of the story. You know who Art Bell was, don't you, all of you? They used to run this program all night where loonies would call him up and talk about taking trips in spaceships and things like that. Wait a minute. Come on.
See, I've decided those flat earther people, they just want to ride in space, and they'll just say that it's flat earth until you prove it. So we'll shoot them up into space, and they got a free ride, and then they'll say, oh, yeah, it's not really flat.
He died of an accidental overdose of prescription drugs. He died April 13th in his bedroom of his Pahrump home at the age of 72. The coroner's office determined he had 4 prescription medications in his system: the opioids oxycodone and hydrocodone, diazepam, often marketed as Valium, and a muscle relaxant, cariprodol. Chronic obstructive. Oh, now it keeps changing here. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and hypertension also were part of the problem. So, anyway, the drugs.
So he had 2 codon drugs.
Yeah, he was taking Prozac. He was taking Percocet and Valium and
oxycodone. Oxycodone.
Yeah, but didn't you say there was 2 oxycodone, or there was 2 codons, right?
Yeah, but one of the
oxycodone and hydrocodone, which is Percocet and Valium.
Yeah.
And then he was also taking Valium, which is diazepam.
Yeah.
And then he was taking relaxant cariprodol, and then oxycodone. So
that's kind of a lethal mix of fucking drugs.
Yeah, whatever else that other one was.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Tim. Not one of my favorite radio shows, but what would happen is when in the old days when you were driving down from, say, Reno in the middle of the night, and there was nothing on the radio, there was always Art Bell, and he was always talking to some guy about taking a trip in a spaceship, how the Martians came down and got him and anal probed him.
Yeek. Why is it always anal probing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a thing on the part of people who like to be picked up by Martians. Had a preoccupation with people's asses, so
Yeah, I find that really hard to believe, considering if they've got a spaceship that got to us before we got to them, then they know which end talks.
Now here's a story. It goes along with something we were talking about the other night. Who was it? I think somebody like Tim was talking about Sinclair Broadcasting and that we should shut them down and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going,
why?
Why? Well,
yeah, you said why. You said why.
Yeah,
let
why?
Them go.
Why? Because if you get rid of Sinclair, somebody else is going to come along and do the same fucking thing. It's not like you're. I love that Botox. It's a big deal over there. Yeah. Anyway, a number of television station groups are in investigation by the U.S. Justice Department over alleged collusion in the setting of advertising rates. Now, that's very much against the law. Okay, like if I had a radio outfit and I got together with another radio outfit and that outfit went to another outfit and we all got together and said, well, let's up our prices and let's keep them there. That's against the law. Well, the latest is a Mobile, Alabama law firm that bought broadcast advertising time and is suing a half a dozen station groups, claiming that coordination between their sales teams artificially drove up the prices of spots. Variety reports the lawsuit was filed earlier this week in federal court named Sinclair Tribune, which Sinclair, by the way, is trying to buy, Gray Television, Tegna Incorporated, Hearst Communications, and Nexstar, and the plaintiffs are seeking class action status. The report quotes the lawsuit alleging that the stations unlawfully shared information and coordinated efforts to artificially inflate prices for television commercials. The suit
Nothing's going to happen.
What?
Nothing's going. Nobody cares. All of our laws. If Trump's on the side of that law, you can shoot somebody in the middle of New York City, and Trump isn't going to do a fucking thing about it.
I don't think Trump has any skin in the game here, outside of the fact that he probably is pro Sinclair, since Sinclair is pro Trump.
Right. So,
the Tribune, Hearst Communications, who knows where they lie, but nevertheless, Sinclair's been involved in this.
Look how cute. Sorry.
What? Oh, the doggy?
No, he's got his little girls with him in the taxi cab.
Oh, in the taxi. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching that. There we go.
Hi, taxi cab gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh, and his wife too. Okay. I'm sorry. I saw the little girls first. I didn't see his wife.
Is that your wife, Keenan?
Yeah, my wife and 2 daughters.
Ah.
That's what I saw.
I won't mention the graffiti I saw.
We're going to go to post office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, that Botox was like $3. Good night.
That's my best friend.
Oh, really? Nice guy.
Yeah, it's his birthday tomorrow. I told him, I'm going to be in Bangkok for your birthday. You want to come? And then he booked his tickets right away.
Smart man.
Wow.
Smart man.
Yeah, we're following the family.
Wow. So anyway, that's what's happening with Sinclair. There was something I wanted to say about that. There was an additional thing, but I can't remember now. I'll remember it probably long after the show is over with. And here is, I know what it was. Yeah, we were saying as long as they're suing Sinclair, when we talk about people suing people, I really think that Les Moonves, to kind of, because he's got the money to do it, should sue Ronan Farrow.
No.
He should file a suit against Ronan Farrow, saying what you're reporting is an exaggeration, or whatever he wants to say, and that I'm suing you because you're here ruining my career. I make millions and millions of dollars a year, and you're screwing that up. So I'm suing you.
What if it's all true and then he can't do that because it's all true?
I think
look like a jackass.
I think somebody should sue Ronan Farrow, because I don't think he does do as much due diligence as he should do. And then he reports, some of the reports he does are sources that refuse to be named.
That doesn't. I don't.
A lot of what Ronan Farrow does is innuendo.
You know what? I think that the stuff that he has brought forward has enough backing on it that I'm going to believe the new stuff that he brings forward.
Why?
Because
why anymore? That would be like me saying that I refuse to believe it because it's Ronan Farrow. I'm just saying that I think Ronan Farrow's stake in the game is the fact that this is how he's making a living now and becoming well known, is to come up with this crap. And that I think he is not doing the same kind of due diligence that other reporters would do before reporting these kinds of stories.
But nobody without a name has been able to get these stories out in the front, and it's taken that name to do so.
What do you mean? I mean, in one case with Moonves, a woman recently, about 2015, went to the Los Angeles police and reported that he had done whatever to her. And when did he do it? 30 years ago. And of course, they had to say, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. There is such a thing as a statute of limitations. You know, and this is exactly
because she didn't feel coming forward about it within what's the state, what's in that state that she did. How many years do you have? 5 years?
You know something? I really wish that a lot of these women would have come forward earlier.
You know what? This is what you guys are forgetting. It took almost 80 women to be raped and forced to do sex acts to bring Harvey Weinstein down.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
It took 60 women to bring down Bill Cosby. And what did he do to those 60 women? He drugged them and raped them.
Now, wait a minute. Can you say that? Do you have personal knowledge that all those assertions are true?
No,
then
but
I'm
going with why didn't you believe one of us instead of making 59 of us get raped and drugged just because you didn't want to believe a woman?
I wish one of you would have come forward a hell of a lot earlier. Because in the case
when you're talking about that Larry Nassar asshole, they have been filing those lawsuits for a long time, but not no man took it seriously, and that's the same. So who is it?
No, but but with Nassar,
with Weinstein,
with Nassar, they managed to get him from under the what do you call it? The under the wire of what the statute of limitations are. I think in the case of a woman who didn't say anything for 30 years. I'm sorry.
Really, does that make her less raped? Oops.
Well, it doesn't make her any. He's got ear.
Sorry, I just saw your daughter.
No, he's got earphones on. His daughter can't hear this.
God.
Is she any less raped, or is she any more raped? Might be the other question as well.
Well, why didn't you believe us the first time? Go ahead.
I'm going to go now, so I'll try calling tomorrow.
Hey,
thanks
listen,
for letting me on.
Hey, thank you for the travel log that we've been able to have, courtesy of you, Keenan. We really.
I'll try calling tomorrow. Thank you very much. See you guys later. Okay?
Thank you so much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. No, I mean we could argue about this forever, but part of this is that what bothers me is that there are going to get people caught in this trap, guys, who are going to be unreasonably, somebody's going to make unreasonable assertions about them that are not true, that get their careers hurt just simply because somebody said these things.
Why is it supposed to take 80 women to get sexually assaulted before you believe us?
You're using...
Why 80?
Wait a minute.
Why 80?
You're using...
Why not one?
Wait a minute. You're using the extreme.
No, I'm not.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. There are a lot of guys lately who have been accused and lost their jobs, who were only accused of doing one incident.
Women who got sexually assaulted probably didn't want to go back in the office anymore because the HR didn't
you're not
believe
listening
them,
to me.
And so they lost their job and had to go find something somewhere else.
You're not listening to me.
You're saying the same thing, but you're saying it on the other side.
No.
You're not saying that women lose their job for this shit too.
I am saying is that we're going to find that there are several people, like for instance, Chris Hardwick was accused by a former girlfriend, and he was taken off the air for many months and almost lost his job at AMC until they finally did an internal investigation and found out that these things were baseless. But in the meantime, he stood accused. And everybody looked at him as being accused.
Your life was so much difficult while he was going through the proper legal channels that are required whether or not the assault is true or not. The reason we have a legal system is to prove that. So he went through that for a couple months. But this is not fair when you.
Well, if the same thing happened to a woman, you wouldn't be sitting here going we like, oh gee, too tough for her.
No, pick one. How many times so this is the deal. It's either women are getting assaulted or partners are for the most part
But you see, you're picking out the Harvey Weinstein situation, which, by the way, he has not said he was guilty of any of those things so far, and nobody has proved that he is. All right, so we have to use the word here continually, alleged. I learned that in the broadcasting business. You use the term alleged. Now, in the case of Bill Cosby, in a lot of those cases with women going after him, number one, the statute of limitations had run out. They alleged what he did. The only one they got was somebody who was within the statute of limitations, and they nailed the motherfucker. And I'm happy for that. You know?
But shouldn't be we asking the question is because of fucking state rights, why is this law different across the United States? Why can't anyone who is sexually abused come back at any point in time when they actually get their therapy, choke, and then get their mind
You
together?
have to ask the question of why are there statutes of limitations on anything? You know, a crime is a crime, and if somebody just, robbed $10 from you and 40 years later you manage to get somebody to believe you and he gets arrested for that stealing of the $10, it should still hold. But no, there are statute of limitations. Why? I can't begin to tell you. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how they came to be. Okay,
why don't we make the same across the United States?
There's no statute of limitations on murder. That's about the only thing there's no statute of limitations on. But on this particular kind of crime, it has to be quite recent in order for it to hold.
I also don't know. So there's two things you guys, men aren't doing. Number one, and this is right at you people. So I'm whether it's in this particular case, I'm going to put Patrick in there, and I'm also going to put Phil in there. You men are not separating yourself from the adolescent males, and you don't correct the adolescent males, so this becomes an issue because you're letting, so right now all of those little white assholes are running around thinking that they've got permission to do shit like Donald Trump has, but you're not going to your friends and saying, you know what, that's a 14-year-old girl you just slobbered over and you just said all those nasty things about. Why don't you back it up until she gets to be 18?
Let me just say something quickly.
You don't do any of that. You're not an advocate
because
for us.
We're running out of time, but I've told the story on this program on how I honestly believe I was raped on one occasion by a woman. Okay? And I, as a male, never made a complaint about it because of the disdain people would hold me in for saying that I've been raped by a woman.
And why do you think women take 30 years to come? That was a man that you just said it. So why are you bashing these women that don't feel comfortable?
I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm saying I'm saying I don't stand up for Harvey Weinstein. I think he's a creep. Yes. Quick with Kevin.
Just wanted to drop in the Terry Crews incident. I don't know if you've heard about the Terry Crews incident.
What was the Terry Crews incident?
Well, he got his junk grabbed, and he's fighting that whole thing, and he's a black man. What would have happened if he jumped out and said and took on the guy that grabbed his junk? There's a big situation there.
Wow.
And that's probably too late to discuss.
All I'm saying
it now,
is
look
that,
it up.
Harvey Weinstein's a
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead, Ray. Wait a minute. We can't hear you, Ray. We can't hear you. No, still can't hear you.
Muted.
There you, Ray. Well, we can't hear you. You'll have to call tomorrow night and tell us. Always like doing battle with you, Renee, on this stuff. You're terrific. We love you. You know that.
Thanks. Yeah.
And
I love you guys too.
Yes. And
that's why I pick on you. And Phil too.
Yes, of course. Hey, listen.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, quickly. What were you going to say?
I just, Alex is just talking about the legal stuff. He's not standing up for these guys. And there's also a difference between suing somebody and charging somebody with a crime. So we got all kinds of different things going on here.
Anyway, listen, we got to go because the next show is dying to come on here. Thank you very much to everybody. Keenan for having joined us, and Tony, and Kevin, and Renee, and Ray. And good having you all here. And I would love it if you would all. Well, she left before she could do it, but the rest of you wave goodbye. All right? Okay. That's our little show for tonight. It started out with almost nobody being here, and then it kind of got nicer and nicer and nicer, and finally we wound up with people like Ray and Kevin, and we had a nice little group of people here. Thank you all for having called our fine program. We will be here. Let me just hang up on everybody. We'll next is, of course, the connections with I'm having trouble here because I'm trying to get all this stuff together to sign off. What do I want to do next? Oh yeah, I want to say, we ran out of music. Well, let me start the music again. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. I'm Alex Bennett. Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection eventually, and that will be followed at 1 o'clock in the morning by Connections coming out of Florida. I'm Alex Bennett. Tomorrow night after Damian Chaplin at 9:30, I will return at 10 o'clock. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.